So what do we need to do in order to retire in our 50s? Let's watch this short video by George Camel, and then I'll share my thoughts.
So let's say you want to retire at age 50. Well, let's see what that turns out to be if you invest 15% from 25 to 50. You would still have $1.6 million with 12%. If you go down 11%, you'd have 1.3. Go down to 10%, and it would come down to 1.16 million. That's still pretty incredible. At 50 years old to have 1.16 million.
Okay, I agree with George. It is incredible to have over $1 million saved when you're 50. And notice that George has people starting to save young at 25, and then his rate of returns assume, 12% is a pretty healthy return. So that's likely in all equity allocation. So it might be a bumpy ride, but in George's example, it gets us where we need to go before we're 50. So are there any redos with Social Security? If we start to accept our benefits, can we undo that? Let's watch this video and find out.
If you start drawing your Social Security benefit, say at 62 because you got laid off, and you're like, well, I tried to find a job, I couldn't get it. I got to live, so maybe I'll just draw my Social Security, and start drawing it, and then lo and behold, you get a job. What most people do is they're like, oh, well, I messed up. No, if you've been on Social Security for 1 year or less, you can get a complete redo. You got to pay it all back. One lump sum, no interest, so there's that. You have to pay it all back, and then they will reset it as if you never drew it, so it will continue to grow, and you won't have any negative damage to your account from starting.
Okay, so this is a lesser known aspect of Social Security. You get to do this once in your lifetime, and there are rules, but go to Social Security, call Social Security, or visit them, ssa.gov. Great information, great tip. So how much money do we need in order to be able to retire? Let's watch this video.
How much money do you actually need to be able to retire early? Here's a very simple rule of thumb. Take whatever monthly income you want to be able to retire off of and multiply it by either 200 or 300. If you want to have $5,000 per month to retire, that leaves you around $3,800 after taxes of passive income, which is really awesome. Now, if you wanted that $5,000 per month with the rule of 200, you would need $1 million. The rule of 200 says that you'll earn about a 6% rate of return on your $1 million.
Okay, I think 6% is high, but as Meet Kevin says, somewhere between 200 times your monthly income that you want and 300 times. At 300 times in this example, you'd need $1.5 million in order to retire on that, and that's closer to my ballpark number. We've worked hard and we finally get to retire. So what's the right way to celebrate it? Let's watch how one YouTuber celebrated her husband's retirement.
Just getting back from my husband's retirement party. I guess that's what it is. He didn't want a ceremony. Oh, it's icing. I had to cut the cake because my husband didn't want it to face the flag. You gotta give it to that guy. He is on brand. He didn't want a retirement ceremony. He does not like attention. Not gonna do any type of change of command or anything like that. At his pizza party, get those little Caesars and get out. And we also had bundt cake. Okay, this is the menu. Now we gotta go get our retiree ID.
Okay, I think that's a great way to celebrate your retirement, is keep it simple and have people around you that love you. But there's no right or wrong way to do it. The important thing is you've finally done it, and now you get to enjoy your party. So what does early retirement look like? Does it mean we slow down and we don't do anything, or does it mean that it's the best chapter of our life and we're squeezing all the juice out of what I call the youth of our senior years? Let's watch this video together and I'll share my thoughts. I look at a video like that and I think, hell yes, that's what retirement's supposed to look like. That's what early retirement is supposed to look like. Whatever that means to you, but we're active, we're following our passions, we're having some of the biggest adventures of our lives. Remember, at 60 years old, unfortunately, most of us are going to have less than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time. So you want to take full advantage of what I call the youth of your senior years, and particularly those first few years of retirement. Go get it and have fun. Unfortunately, many of us forget about an important expense when we're planning for retirement. I don't want to see that happen to you, so let's watch this video by Prana Health together, and then I'll share my comment.
My buddy wants to retire at age 60 and spend $60,000 a year. He'll probably need to have around $815,000 saved, around 13 and a half times his annual spend. What if my buddy wanted to spend $100,000 a year and still retire at 60? If so, he'd need to save 18 and a half times that, or $1.875 million. Okay, time out. Why did the multiple just go up? Why isn't it just 13x for everybody? In his case, it's taxes.
Okay, that's it. It's taxes. The more money we take out, the higher the tax bracket we're going to be in, and the bigger that expense is going to be. It's going to be expense for most of us, and I don't want you to forget about it. One of the things I encourage all of us to do is to be thoughtful and deliberate about when we retire. Because unfortunately at 60 or 65, most of us are going to have fewer than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time in front of us. Let's watch this video together and see why one person decided to retire early.
I spent most of my life working 40 or 50 hours a week. And then I invested for about a decade and retired early. I saw a comment from somebody saying they would never want to retire early because the thought of doing nothing was terrifying to them. I think they were using the wrong word. I didn't retire early so I could do nothing. I retired early so I could do anything.
And I think this is a reason why a lot of people don't retire early, is they don't know what they would do. It does take a leap of faith, but I've been a retirement advisor for over 20 years, and what I've seen is once people get through that transition, it's incredibly rewarding and fun. So is it impossible for the average person to save $1 million? It's certainly not easy, but let's listen to Dave Ramsey and get his thoughts on the topic.
But $100 invested every month from age 25 to age 65, averaging 12% in a good growth stock mutual fund Roth IRA, is $1,176,000. So if you're listening to this show and you are under 40 years old and you don't retire with $1 million, that's no one's fault but yours.
Okay, so Dave is candid, Dave is direct, but you know what? Dave's also correct with his math and just showing that it's a matter of saving consistently and having time work in your favor. And it's not enough to just save. We also have to invest and get compounding working for us. So save consistently and save early. So what's the true impact of our decisions to save for our future self versus spend on our current self? Let me introduce you to Caleb Hammer. Let's watch his video together, and then I'll share some thoughts.
Strong income. As a single dad?
Yes.
What's your retirement at?
0.
You said you're 30, correct?
Yeah.
Well, 5 kids. Putting your desires to go out to eat instead of saving up for retirement is selfish. You're putting the burden on them. They're not going to let their dad that they love die under a bridge. So they're going to put pauses on their life in order to support you.
Okay. Caleb is harsh. I like Caleb, but it is true, right? We're making decisions between current you and tomorrow you, and balancing that is a fine art. I think we need to be saving at least 10%. And unfortunately, and I know it's aspirational, I think many of us need to be shooting for closer to 20%. We're going to live longer and we want to have that support when we get older. So how much money do we need to save in order to retire early, let's say over a 10-year period? Let's watch this video and find out.
Here's how you'll retire early. Just multiply your yearly expenses by 25. So here, if your yearly expenses are $20,000, you need $500,000 in order to retire early. If you invest in a solid index fund or ETF that returns 8% each year, this is how much you need to invest each month for those amount of years in order to hit this. For example, if you need $60,000 in retirement and you have 20 years, you're going to need to invest $2,640.
Okay, this video is just chock filled with a lot of great information, so I suggest you pause it and look at his table. He's using the rule of 4%, which I like, and then he's also saying how much money you need to save each month in order to get to that savings number. It's a good video.